Aha! So I'll meet up at the courthouse so we can redeem some property. Hmm. Yeah, only if there's something in it for me. Yeah, that's how we all think, isn't it? Oh, okay. Let me get it straight. Hey, once again, I'm Brian. I'm giving a shout out to my crowd out there. You know, some of my crowd out there can be pretty selfish. One day we'll be able to work that out, and in my presentation today, I'm going to suggest a few ways we might be able to do that. Okay. I just want to talk to you about this lady that read about named Ruth. And read about her in the Bible, by the way. I read the Bible quite a bit. Anyway, what Ruth did was amazing. Um, she had a mother-in-law named Naomi. Now, crazy thing that she and Naomi had in common is that both her husbands had died. Ruth's husband, who was Naomi's son, and of course, Naomi's own husband had died a little bit before that. Well, anyway, they were living in a state called Moab, in the south side of Israel. Well, Naomi's from Israel, so Naomi decided it was time for her to move back. Now, as you can probably see by my shirt, let me get some of the shadow off here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, as you probably guessed by now, I'm from someplace outside Georgia. I'll let it go unnamed for the moment. But anyway, not being from Georgia, if somebody came and asked me to, help redeem some property for them, and there was nothing in it for me, I don't know. I'm not from Georgia, and especially if I don't know that I'm going to be able to cash in on it or anything. That's how we think, isn't it? Well, let me move along in this. Okay. Ruth, wanted to go back with Naomi to Israel, rather. Naomi had that kind of effect on Ruth. And, that can be a good thing. You want to have the right kind of elders in life. Well, what happened was they got back to Naomi's hometown, which was Bethlehem. And not long after they were back there, they met up with a man named Boaz. And Boaz was a relative of Naomi and her husband's when he was still living. Well, Ruth wound up working for Boaz because, she didn't have anything else going on, and they had to eat and pay the bills somehow. Ruth went to work for Boaz, and she got acquainted with Boaz more and more, somewhat at Naomi's urging too, but, Naomi had a stake in it. Ruth, she didn't know whether she had a stake in it or not until Naomi told her some of the particulars. Now, even before all this happened, Ruth decided, hey, I'd rather live amongst Naomi's people than amongst the ones that I come from. And Ruth had her reasons. Now, check this out. Once they talked it over, and Boaz agreed to help Naomi reclaim the homestead she used to live on in Bethlehem. You see, at the time, the laws of Israel were like this. Women weren't allowed to own large estates and things like that. They could only possess them through their husbands and everything. Yeah, Naomi couldn't just, stay on welfare and live off the government and everything. That wasn't a good idea, especially back then. Okay, check this out. Ruth got more and more acquainted with Boaz, but there was this one other man who was part of their extended family. If they were going to reclaim the property, it would have to be through him, but only if that man agreed to it. So Boaz went and talked to the man, and the man said no. So Boaz, hey, I'll help Naomi and Ruth do what they need to do. So one thing led to another. Boaz married Ruth and took Naomi into his home. Doesn't sound familiar? Well, I'll just come right out and say it. That's basically what Jesus has done for us. He came to earth and reclaimed us as his own, even though we were estranged from him. When he came to earth, people acted like they didn't know him, and they really didn't. However, Jesus reclaimed us by dying on the cross, resurrecting from the grave, and he's back up there with the Father, getting our future home, our heavenly home, ready for us. Now, are we going to commit ourselves to him? I have, but what about you? I urge you to make that commitment. See, that for Naomi to reclaim her homestead, her property, she had to have her kinfolk get involved. Now, if you accept Jesus today, he becomes your kinfolk in a sense, in a greater sense, not just today, but forever. Doesn't that sound good to you? You got heavenly security, eternal security, versus the damnation, the hell that will be the result if you keep kicking Jesus to the curb. So I'm just putting it out there. So I hope you give that a lot of thought, and I urge you to come over to my side. Don't stay on the selfish side. Don't stay on the me only side, where you think there's only something in it for you. And by the way, when you come to Jesus, there's a lot in it for you that you haven't even heard about yet. Well, I think I've dwelt on that enough for today. So, till next time, come to the Jesus crowd. Find you some better kinfolk. And leave that other crowd be. I don't think you're helping much anyway. Okay. Think about it. Till next time. Ciao.